Hey, entrepreneurs, are you looking to make bigger profits in your small business? Like many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard, and now more than ever, you need to have a plan to help your business not just survive, but thrive. I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a profit and business strategist on a mission to help tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees increased profitability and guides your growth. I'm looking forward to sharing strategies that I've earned and learned with you on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. That's if I can get my mouth to work this morning. But before we get started, I have something to share with my listeners. I put together 6 easy tips to implement that you can help improve your profitability right now. Go pick those up on my website at trajectorybiz.com. That's B-I-Z. So I'm really excited to have my guest today, WendyAnn Hornak. WendyAnn helps her clients herald unprecedented growth by revolutionizing their business processes. Having worked in the world of renowned leaders such as Tony Robbins, Kelly Roach, and Fraser Brooks, to name a few, her knowledge and passion combined sets her apart from the crowd and allows her clients to flourish beyond their expectations. She has had the privilege of helping numerous Fortune 500 clients streamline their operating standards to have positive impact, not just on their margin, but on their growth. WendyAnn has been around the business world for decades. She doesn't look it, as both of her parents were top contributors in Wall Street and New York City. Her extensive knowledge combined with her passion to help others push past their obstacles has driven her clients to continue to want more from themselves and their business growth. She's a firm believer that it is the best investment anybody can make is in themselves, which will allow them to have a massive impact on others. Welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, Wendy. WendyAnn, sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure. I'm so grateful to be able to spend some time with you and your audience. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this is a great topic that is certainly important today, now more than ever. We're coming out of the pandemic. We're getting things rolling. We're moving our business, trying to move our business forward. What are some of the ideas that you're recommending to your clients right now to really create that impact that they're looking for?
So I think that the very first step that people need to take, and you can be anywhere on the map, right? You could be just starting because you realize that you can create your own economy online, and this is great. Or you could be in a business currently and you're like, wow, how do I pivot and go to the online world when I'm so invested in the brick and mortar world? Like, how do I make that transition? Or you're in the transition and you're just stuck. You can't seem to move that needle and you just want to get into it. And I've heard all of the things like, oh, it's just a summer slump. Oh, it's just this. The bottom line here is it's not a summer slump. There is always going to be ebbs and flows. You just need to be prepared for those, right? So I think the very first thing that I always say is please remain consistent. Stay the course. Don't deviate from the course. Don't think, well, nobody's really listening right now, so I'm just going to, I'm going to come off of social for a little while. So everyone picks up on that, right? So you want to stay consistent. You need to stay engaging. You need to stay, trust me, people come back. And there are people who are watching you that would blow your mind months from now. You can mark my words on this, that they'll come out of the woodwork, right? And they're like, I've been listening to you for a year. And you're like, you have? Where have you been? So
I didn't know anybody was listening, right?
I had no idea. So I know a lot of people still feel that way. And I know many business owners who are well into the 6 and 7 figures. And that's usually where our sweet spot is we work with entrepreneurs who are really they're family focused and they're thought leaders and they really want to stay consistent in that 6 or 7 figure mark. And many of them are out there today. And I know so many get that imposter syndrome, right? You look out and you're like, oh my gosh, this person has 1 million followers and all these things. Please don't equate that to money because I know plenty of business owners who have very little followers or very little comments on their lives. And they're doing quite well for themselves. And it did not happen overnight. So you really need to focus in on those things. Just remain consistent, stay with the path.
I love that. And it's so important because, we've had a really crazy 18 months that we've been in. And so many people, like you said, are trying to shift to go online because that is that's a viable part of many folks' business, even those traditional brick and mortar businesses, but they don't quite know how to do it, what to do, what's the first thing to do. And that consistent, whatever that thing is that you're doing, that consistency is so important. I like that a lot. So answer me, how do we get online? How do we really make that impact? And when you say online, is that like social media or like, e-commerce?
So I'm referring specifically to social media, and you can pick a plethora of platforms, right? And you'll hear so many people say you need to be everywhere. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't also agree with that. I feel like if you're just getting started, find one, maybe two platforms that you're comfortable enough to start that process, right? Get yourself some training, figure out the ins and outs, learn from some experts. I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with Fraser for years, being in his 1% group. I really took the time to kind of dig in. And so many people have said to me, why are you working with all of these? You've got all this experience. I do have a lot of experience with the 20 plus years, but here's the thing, things change constantly. So learning all of these different little, ways to make the program work best for you. And I think you need to just be comfortable with one or two before you start expanding everywhere. Once you get your comfort zone down, and I'm talking 30, 60, 90 days, you want to then leap to another platform, just don't leave this one behind. Remain, stick with the plan. So that's,
Yeah.
yes, I'm referring to, and there's all different, you can start with LinkedIn, people start with Pinterest, people start with Clubhouse, people start with YouTube. It's what you're comfortable with, right?
Right. Right. I think that's the piece that so many people are online, that they need to see people, they need to see you, and you may not have had access to those people without being online because they may not be in your neighborhood or nearby. Something you said though really, really hit a point to it. You've been in business for 20 years. You've got all this experience, but what do? You hire experts, you hire coaches to make sure that you're constantly evolving and innovating and improving your processes and systems. I like that a lot. Coming from two coaches, we love that line. So
yeah, I mean, it's funny that you bring that up because I have clients who worked for me who have said that with their own, where they have me and they might have somebody else helping them, for maybe an abundance mindset type deal. Your clients, I will assure you of something. If you are going up against somebody who's constantly investing in themselves and you think you've got it all, you're not going to win. Environment. You're not. People feel that. Forget about clients, customers, whatever you want to call them. People feel that. And they want to do business with people who are investing in themselves, which is going to invest in them. Right. So remember that when you're really thinking about, well, what's this worth? I think I have everything that I need. I just need to keep working with these clients. That's going to be a consistent flow. You need to keep investing in you, and trust me, you'll show up online so much more different than if you didn't make that choice. So I just want to throw that out there.
love it, love it, love it. It's so important. And I do. I walk my walk. I invest in my coaches, and I have a few of them that I work with. And so I totally get that. And plus, what it does is it allows you to elevate your game when you're talking to people, because now you have new, fresh ideas that they may not have heard of because you just learned these ideas or you're just improving those ideas. So love that a lot. So when you're on social and you choose, which one do you want to choose first? Is it the one that you feel comfortable with, or maybe the one that your clients are more likely to hang out on?
It's a really, really good question. I actually just had a client come to me about a month ago and ask the exact same question. Like, I'm really comfortable on Facebook, but all of my competitors are getting all of their traffic through Instagram. And here's what I say: stick with Facebook, but introduce yourself on Instagram. You do need to be in multiple markets. You will attract different people depending on what platform you're on, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's, everything fits different people's businesses. And what I will say to that is, I would not abandon where you're comfortable and willing to grow, but I would also tell you to expand and become uncomfortable, right, with yourself and your processes, because that's where you're really going to find all of a sudden the doors just seem to open up.
Yeah. And okay, so now I've stretched myself and I get out on Instagram, and When we're talking about Instagram, what are we going to post? Is there any kind of specific content we put out there? Or are we just putting pictures of our kitty and our lunch we had the last day and, a quote from something or other, right? I mean, that's what I see on Instagram.
I will tell you this. Instagram was something that in the very beginning I was so fearful of because I am not a photographer. That is not my niche. I will snap pictures and sometimes, you don't get the perfect selfie or one of the kids' arms is up in the air or something crazy. And I never really cared about that. And in the beginning, Instagram was all about the photo and the tone and the light.
Perfection.
Perfection. Yes. I had that's where Instagram and I were breaking up because perfection is something you should never be searching for. It's just not attainable and it's not a good goal to have. But Instagram has certainly changed its course. And you'll notice if you look through the authentic people who are out there, they're sharing their lives. So they're posting something out there that they're genuine about or that they feel. And so many people, like your question, to go back to it, to say, what do I post? You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan. And it does not, let me say this loud and clear, it should not take you 20 hours to figure out your plan. It may in the beginning if you're doing different platforms and you're trying to do all the right things, but once you get the hang of it, it should not take you that long because you should be having your 3 to 5 pillars of what you love to talk about, love to service, and what people you are looking to attract. You're not just looking to pick up work anywhere. This isn't a paycheck. This is a business. This is an entrepreneur. This is a journey. You don't want to wake up every day and think, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this.
I've been there.
Right. That's not the point. The point was you may have even left your career because that's how you felt and you didn't want to do that anymore. So don't go back to that. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. And we're so funny in our masterclass, which we're doing right now, and it's completely free. It's for 5 days. Was one of the things that hit home the most today is stick to your core. And use that to genuinely talk about whatever you're going to talk about on social media.
So do we talk about our business all the time? Do we sneak our business in? What's the strategy on that makes sense when we're posting? Because I do a lot of business posts and then I'll do my fun posts that are just random because I don't have as much fun as I'd like to have. But yeah, what's the balance?
So I think that the balance is what you're comfortable with. Some people are far more aggressive where they're like, here's my business. This is every day. I'm going to show you every day exactly what it is. I mean, let's be honest. You only get it takes so much more exposure. People used to turn on online and be like, oh, that's great. Let me buy it. Where now it's a little bit different. It takes a lot of exposure to be able to see that. So I don't want you to hide from it, but I also don't want you to feel sneaky about being online. There is a balance. Some people love to talk about their kids, their family lives, things that are going on in their lives. Other people are strictly business and that's what they're comfortable with. What I do suggest is you mix in a little bit of both and it's not constantly with your handout. You need to be able to give value back to people. People are looking for value. People on social media are looking to be social. They're not looking to be taken advantage of. So make sure that you are, whatever it is content that you're putting out there, you're providing value back to people. And I assure you, they will really take that in. And whatever your message that you want to be out in the world, that's the great thing about social media. You don't have to agree or disagree or anything. It's just what you want to put out on it. It's what you want to put out. And the people who you're looking to attract, that's the key, guys. That's what unlocks the whole success. That's what brings people in and keeps them coming back.
Because they liked what you put out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nice. And so in our plan that we're developing for this social media content, I guess I want to call it. How often do you suggest posting?
So on which platform?
Well, give us some examples. Give us examples on the top 3.
Yep. So I would tell you for Instagram, I would probably post if you're okay. So let me take a step back. If you're really interested in that grid and how it looks, 3 times a week, because then you can keep your grid with all of your, all of your pups, all of your kids, all of your business, and it stays in the little lines and it makes it look pretty. If you are on Facebook, I would tell you at least once a day. Now in the stories, you could do whatever you want. That's really the behind the scenes type feel of life.
Because those
Um,
goes away after a little while, right?
yeah, they go away after 24 hours. So, and people, that's where people are really looking like, oh, that's where the what she ate for breakfast, or what is she doing with this, or she's like, she said she was exhausted, but she started taking a supplement. Like, what was that? Was it just a B? You know, the other day I was talking about B12 versus B1 and taking that vitamin just to kind of help with that endurance that people seem to be lacking lately.
Mm,
Let's be honest, we've been stuck inside the house. So sometimes when we get out there, I mean, especially in some areas, it's hard trying to keep up with a life that you used to have. And now it's completely different. So sometimes you need a little bit of help. And it's always good to be able to share some value in there too. But
mm.
people are looking to always remember, people are looking to connect with you, not in something that you read about from somebody else's blog. So we talk a lot about follow people who you respect and like, and then take that, make it your own, and run with it. It does
I like
not
that.
mean find what somebody's doing and copy it. That's not what it means. It means, oh, they talk about this, they talk about that, you know, and I like to talk about tractors, and I like to talk about, you know, gardening, and I like to talk about food. Okay, so there's 3 pillars, things that you could talk about, and then drop your business in, or drop your business and then maybe occasionally give some value about something that you like to do from a hobby perspective. Whatever you're going to do, just do what's good for you. Do what's
Mm,
authentic to you. And that word was such a buzzword for so long. I felt
it is.
everybody was talking about, oh, be authentic, authenticity. And sometimes I don't think people really grasp to understand that it's just you being you. That's it.
Right?
Yeah,
Just me.
exactly. Exactly. I love it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's important that people forget, is, stop trying to be like somebody else, or copycat, or, my coach says, hacking, but you're hacking a system or a process, not the personality of that person that you're going, that you're following or hoping to strive because they had a good idea. But yeah, the original content you can still have. And I think instead of authentic, because you should just be authentic. I mean, my goodness, that's you. Why be somebody else? But I
Yes.
think having that original content can still be repurposed content. You're just
Oh,
putting an original spin on it,
yes.
and freshening it up. So I could take your recent post on your vitamin B and say, oh, well, so my friend WendyAnn Hornak said vitamin B12 and vitamin B1 were the things to help grow your endurance, and so here's how I'm using it. And I
Yes.
think that's the thing that's better than authentic, because
Oh,
damn it, you should be authentic anyways.
you should. Oh, I totally agree with you. I totally agree. You should always just be you, and people will see right through that. And I promise you, your tribe is just waiting for you. And
Mm,
it's a journey. It is not an overnight success. And here's the thing, guys, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder, do you? You don't
no,
wanna. So why are you looking for that instant, like, oh, it's gonna happen tomorrow, I'm gonna be a millionaire? You're not. And if
right.
you are, you know, they talk a lot about like the lottery winners that go broke and you hear about it. That's not
Yep.
who you want to be. You don't want to
Right.
be that. So yeah, keep showing up, keep doing what you like. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with hijacking information out there and making it your own and running
Yeah.
with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. Okay, so we've spoken about LinkedIn, we've spoken a little bit about Instagram and Facebook, and just having that consistency that we have coming in, being constantly putting content out that represents who you are authentically, and sprinkling in enjoyment and business at the same time. Let me ask you something. All this work, all this effort, what are we getting out of it? Where are we sending people while we're doing this so that we can engage them or maybe take them to the next step?
So I think that's what's comfortable for you. Like for us, you know, we talk a lot, you know, I'll use your verbiage of, you know, hijacking. We go over this whole what the more process is. And we have a whole community online that talks about how, you know, business owners want to get more. It's basically 12 months of free training, giving you tips and tricks. You can take that and run with it and make it your own and put
Mhm.
it out there. Here's the deal. In all of my years experience in corporate, working with companies across the globe in all different, whether it's telecommunications, whether it's tech, or it's transportation, it doesn't matter. The cores are the same. It's just a matter of making them yours. So I can give you the blueprint, but what really counts is digging in and being able to get it specific to you. So when we say things like, okay, so now we've done all this work, what do we want to do? Some people simply run webinars and they run them through a lead magnet and they build their business that way. Other people love to connect. I love to connect one-on-one. It's probably one of the things that I enjoy the most is to get on a call with somebody, talk with them, kind of understand where they're coming from, and honestly see if they're a right fit, because not everybody is going to be a right fit for me or for them. So really being able to connect with somebody and talk with them and be able to understand where they should go or what would be the right place to go to. I think that's what's really important. The other thing that I would throw out, and I think this is so underutilized, and in today's market, it's such a shame, find a power partner or five.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Find people who are like, who give something a little bit different, and partner up with them, because I'm not an expert when it comes to tax law, but I have somebody who is. And when it comes to that point, I have somebody to refer to. And frankly, they have somebody to refer back because we have that relationship. So I think it just depends on, how do you feel more comfortable? Are you more comfortable in a group setting where you're just bringing people onto a Zoom and doing some Q&As? Are you more comfortable doing a one-to-one? Do you just simply want to put content out there? But to your point, you need to be able to find a way to pull them in. So
Yes.
you make the choice. Is it a call? Is it a lead that you're going to send to them and put them through? They're going to watch this and then they're going to make a decision from there, and maybe they can connect with you. Those are all personal choices. I just feel like I need to be able to connect with somebody and really talk to them about what they're doing and how things are going and where they're looking to go, and see if we have the same, frankly, core beliefs that's going to make a great match to see them succeed.
Love it. Love it. Well, I have a client that is fanatical about putting out social media. She doesn't. She has to pay somebody because she doesn't feel that she's artistic enough. But she's got this beautiful storefront, right? She's got all these pictures and stories and before and afters and all this wonderful stuff. And I'm like, okay, where are you sending them? And she's like, oh, they go into my, into my newsletter. And I'm like, okay, but you're putting out all this effort and you're not bringing them in like we just spoke about, and connecting with them however you're going to connect with them. And I think that's the missing piece that people forget when they're posting, is the ask. What's the next step? After you've seen my beautiful work or my presentation or my value that I'm giving you, what's the next step?
Mhm.
And, I ask you, how often should we offer that next step? Should it be on the first one? Should it be on the third one? Should I do, 5 posts and then an ask? What's the best way?
So I don't necessarily think it's a 5-to-1 ratio. I think that it needs to be on multiple levels. And this is the very
Mm.
first thing we do with a lot of our clients is, and we offer this free, we kind of go through a little bit of a social media facelift, if you may, where we'll look.
I
So
like
we,
that. We all need that.
I know, especially after the pandemic. Is it consistent across the board?
Mm.
The very first tip that I always give to people is, whatever picture you choose, if Facebook is your thing and your profile picture is that, please make sure it's the same across all other social media
Ooh.
platforms. So
Consistency, like we started.
absolutely. It needs to be a consistent look. And then when you click on there, how do you find me? Where do you go? Can you connect with me? Do I have a website? These things should be right there at their fingertips so they can watch your story. And I believe in call to actions. If you're going to talk about business and you're going to talk about whether it's a free offering or a service or something that you're doing that's exciting, I certainly think that you should be asking, which especially when it comes to female entrepreneurs, we tend to kind of hold back on some, or some just have their hand out constantly. There is a balance, but
Mm.
if you're going to bring something to the table, then you should definitely be asking who's interested, and then take that interest level from there. But I also believe that it's not just about the shiny storefront. It's also about you going out and finding your people as well. So there's a little bit of a mixture there also. As much as attraction marketing is fantastic, but you
Mhm.
also need to be going out there and engaging in other people's worlds and making new connections as well.
Yeah, I love it because yeah, you got to have some place to monetize one way, shape, or form the effort you're putting out there. And so I think that that's really important. I love that you have a variable, so it's either a call or it's a link or more value, or come into my group, or some sort of free thing that they can start to experience you more with. And I
Yep.
think that that's super important for people to have, is that, and we call it a lead magnet, but it's got different layers and shapes and forms to it, but it's all still one thing. Let me introduce you to my world and let me open the door so you can come in and shop around for a little while.
Yes. And it's so exactly what you just said is so important because people need to feel comfortable enough to ask you questions. And I think
Mm,
sometimes clients and or business owners feel taken back. And I mean, I've seen this happen in the industry where if I say, so tell me a little bit about this 25 years experience you've had in corporate America, like what did you do? What did you, well, I said I have 25 years experience. If you're getting resistance when you're asking questions, that's not a good fit. So you need to be open to the fact that as people come to you and want to work with you, they're going to ask questions. And you as the person should feel completely comfortable asking and vetting whoever you're going to work with, right?
those
Because
are buying signals. Oh my gosh, if I ask you a question, that's a buying signal that I'm interested. So now
absolutely.
bring me in.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And I think some people are very resistant to that, and
Mm,
you should not be. And listening to your customers, it's key that those little things that they're telling you that they need, that's golden marketing material, guys. That's golden marketing material. Don't take it
yes,
like, don't.
I love this. So this is really good. This is really good, WendyAnn. You've given us some really good ideas on how to make impact on it. Is there anything else you might want to share with us that might help us get more consistent on social media and get more out of it?
Yeah, I would tell you for sure to come up with a plan. I would definitely, you have to have a plan. If you're just posting aimlessly because you have a business and you want to talk about the grass, it's not going to work. You really need to know, like, are you talking about how to treat the grass? Are you talking about how to care for your grass? Are you talking about the fact that you can come and help me because I don't have the time to cut the grass? So you need to
Mm,
put all of that together and then figure out how in your voice you're going to bring that to market and on what level. People schedule out their content for the whole year. Like at least they have an idea, like I want to, this is how I want to go. And this is how my schedule is going to be. And this is what I want to talk about, but keep the core component together and make sure that whatever your daily DMO is, that you stick with it. You
mm.
need to be consistent. And the days where you're only seeing one person's on your live or 10 people when you're used to 200, or oh, I just saw Maggie, she just went live, she has 1 million people. She's been doing that for 5 years. Be respectful. Number one, you don't want to be an overnight success either, and just keep remembering that. So stay consistent, build in yourself to become more confident, because how you show up online means something to the world. They're paying attention, they're watching you, they can see that you aren't comfortable on camera. So how are you going to help them get comfortable on camera, right?
Right, right.
Um, so I think that those are really, really important things, that you keep that DMO, and you really stick with it and have that plan. Keep those pillars. Find your 3 to 5 things that you love. Talk about them. Talk about them. Bring value to the world.
You're singing my song because I'm all about planning. Profit with a Plan is the name of the podcast. So I just love that you're playing on that part, because it is so important. You cannot just react your way through business. And social media is one place that you can get caught into the vortex and get sucked into it, with no benefit from it, because you didn't put a strategy and a plan in place. So great stuff. All right, WendyAnn, where can listeners find out more about you? This has been wonderful.
Oh, thank you again so much for having me. This has been such a great conversation. So you can find me. I am all over social media, but the best place is to jump into Facebook. We have an online community. We just started. It's got a couple hundred people in it already, literally brand new, because we wanted to start bringing some of this community together, because I feel so strongly that you need to be around like-minded people.
So
It's
true.
called the More Community. So it's MORE, but there's periods in between it because, yes, of course, it stands for something. And we are actually doing a 5-day free, call it a masterclass, call it a workshop. I've called it everything, but tons of value to get you online, get you streamlined, get your plan together so you can take off into the world. So that's probably the easiest, or right on the website, which is www.farfrombasic.com.
And you are so far from basic because you're putting that extra care and touch into it. So I love this. This is wonderful. So listeners, go check out WendyAnn. You can find her on, and it's Facebook, and it's m.o.r.e, correct?
Yes, the more community.
Perfect.
Yep.
The more community. Love it. Okay. So thanks, listeners. I hope you found an idea or two to put into your business that will help you become more profitable. And remember, now more than ever, it's important to create your own profit plan. Don't forget to pick up my 6 tips that'll help you improve your profitability right now. Go to my website, trajectorybiz.com. That's B-I-Z. And Wendy and I would love to hear your questions or feedback. So please comment on the show, and of course, subscribe so you can that way get next updates on next week's show. And as always, you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. And we're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with them. Thanks, WendyAnn.
Thank you.